Welcome to Apex Esports League. I'm JT. Tonight we are on iRacing for round 3 of the Pagnian Imports NASCAR Cup. In round 3 we are headed to Charlotte for the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval, and then it's going to be some more high-speed racing tonight. So tonight's session we are a little bit different. We're going under lights, so we're heading over for 10 minutes practice. Weather is clear. We've got 10 minutes of qualifying, and then the race is 40 minutes. There's rolling starts, double file back with lap cars to the back for restarts, and ongoing weather variation is 20. We have, after the second round, Adam Marinovich taking the championship lead by 12 points, just narrowly getting ahead of Blake Urquhart, sitting on 228 points. Last week at South Boston Speedway, we saw Blake Urquhart take victory and the fastest lap bonus points after qualifying in third position. So it's going to be very exciting racing tonight over at Charlotte, and we'll head over onto that. I'll get rid of this on the screen first. That might actually help. There we go. We'll get some audio going for us as well. Let's see how many drivers are joining in the session at the moment. So we've got 13 currently loading in. If you are joining us for the stream and you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that follow button. We do appreciate growing support. With Alexander Dyson Smith, got Caleb Peterson, so we can see a few different better controls. Alexander's just made some contact. It sounded like it was potentially some critical damage that went on then. Through which drivers are out on track currently. And drivers already getting some times on the board. Caleb Peterson currently the quickest out there. Crosses, cuts that in through to the infield. Guys, we're just doing some practice sessions. Getting down into the 29-second mark. 29.2 was the quickest that they managed to get in there. However, they are noticing that tyre life is going to be taking quite a big hit. That front right really gets scrubbed out on this track. The last two rounds, the tracks were a little bit slower, a little bit more technical, and they were able to blast out on a set of tyres. However, they are varying between what the drivers are mentioning, 10 to 20 laps. So we are going to be seeing a fair few pit stops over the course of 40 minutes. Sikander making his way out onto the track at the moment. Our driver out there, which is Mark Orton at the moment, a 29.4. That's a very quick time. The driver's got 3 minutes left of the practice session, then we head over into 10 minutes of qualifying. And with how tight it is up the top of the championship standings between Adam Marinovich and Blake Urquhart, qualifying is definitely crucial. There's 25 championship points up for grabs for taking pole position. Mark bringing the car back into the pits by the looks of it. Thompson also following suit. Jump on board with Craig Taylor. Contact that was very crucial, and some bad luck as usual with our on-boards. 777, Steve Banks. It's likely to see one stuck in fourth gear. Last week, Boston, we did see usually some drivers using around third gear. Just to keep that torque up, however, it did tend to eat the engine a bit. About 295, I would assume. 292, we saw the corner turn in. Track temperature is currently 21 degrees, ambient's 20. Humidity is at 25%. Steven's currently sitting the 5th quickest time in practice. South Boston last week, it's a very bumpy track. It's not so bumpy, however these corner exits can easily start getting that car out towards that wall. He's holding on very tight as he goes around. Close, you can see the camera actually glitching through onto the wall, so it doesn't look too spectacular. This is outside, these guys having to get out to that wall. Mark Gordon still holding that quickest shine. Currently setting a 29.442. Well, he's blinking out a little bit, there's some lag going on for him. There's some serious blinking, some sparks flying as it's happening. Fellow clutch kicker Aaron Thompson also in with the second quickest time, setting a 29.734. I think he did just beat that at 29.4. So we now into the qualifying session. Drivers scrambling out on the track pretty quickly. And drivers do have to be mindful as well with those pit speed limits. Cars don't have the pit limiter buttons, so it is all fully manual control. Drivers were getting stung a fair bit with some speeding in pit lane during the course of the race over the last couple of rounds. Blake Urquhart needing to really ensure he gets a high qualifying position. It's only 12 points separating himself and our current championship leader Adam Marunovic. It was Neil J. McKenzie who was in the lead after the first round. Neil suffering a disqualification last week, costing him some precious points in the race. They were saying he's feeling a bit under the weather and wasn't probably going to be joining the session, but he's managed to still make it in. It's good to see. And Nathan Peters currently loading into the session. He was absent last week, he was also under the weather. So good to see him back out on track with us again tonight. So hopefully Neil manages to last out for the course of the race. Make our way down through the list. We've got Bradley Morris in car number 8. Russell Gander in car 265. Craig Taylor in car number 103. Aaron Thompson already putting some good pace down in this. He's tucking in behind Alexander. It's going to be a pretty good slipstream as long as he doesn't get held up at all. You can really see a little bit of aero wash happening where that slipstream really started to push him out to the side, and Alexander also making contact to that wall. That's pushed him onto the infield. And Alex is in car number 6. Caleb Peterson, car number 115. Oh, he locks up just on that pit exit. The Buckland in car number 17. And of course, our championship leader is in car number 108. He's still linking in and out at the moment. He's car number 444. Neil McKenzie in car number 15. Robbie Bradbury in car number 35. Steve Banks in car 777. That's the Century Motorsports KFC guys. That is Stephen Bradley and Robbie Bradbury. Peters still hasn't loaded into the session. Hopefully he's not getting any technical issues. So about 16 cars loading in at the moment. We've still got a couple coming through. Graham Ellison, car number 49. Our championship leader, Adam Runovich, has taken pole position. He's set a 29.460. It's very similar to Mark Horton's times that we saw in the practice session. And it's all going to come down to the traffic that's out there at the time, whether he's going to be having that slipstream. His quickest times are 29.565. He's blinking quite badly. Hopefully it doesn't cause any tech issues for him once the race starts. There's 5.5 minutes remaining of qualifying. Pole position could easily be taken, especially when there was talk about the practice sessions before tonight's round, setting in around the 29.2. Blake currently in the pits, making a few fine tunings. Drops down. Gets around car number 115, that's Caleb Peterson. Alexander setting nearly a 30-second flat. There's not much difference between himself, Blake and Bradley, and even Graham Ellis. They're all in the 30.05s. So 0.52 for Graham. 0.55 for Bradley, and it's a 0.57 for Blake Urquhart. There's nothing in between those times, and there's only a difference of 0.013 separating pole to second. Some serious blinking going on with a fair few drivers. Hopefully it's not some actual server issues that are going on. Very well be iRacing that's having some server issues. There has been downtimes that have occurred, usually just about 9 o'clock. Usually just before we finish up, or just after we finish up the sessions. However, now with daylight savings time, it's probably a little bit safer. It's going to have that leeway if there is scheduled, but it just usually mean that the servers are needing a good restart. We've got Scott Rankin back in, who joined us for round 1. He was absent from some series for quite some time. I think we saw him originally start in the MX-5s quite some time ago. Racing is his forte. Scott is in car number 85. Nathan Peters is back in. So it took a while for him to load up. So he's in car number 100. I do hope I've covered all the drivers. We've got Graham Ellis really tucking in behind champ leader. Oh, that was a bit of a netcode issue there. So the back end actually just appeared into the front of Adam's car. He did blink out for a moment as he was going for a pass. And Adam's car reacted to zero contact whatsoever. Scott Rankin's just stolen pole position. There's a 29.239. Some competition for our championship leaders tonight with setting a fantastic time like that for Scott. We will jump on board with Scott around for a blisteringly quick lap. Roll up. He's going to bring the car into the pits. Whoever we cross over to will either be in it or decide to head into the pits. It's usually the way it happens. It's the commentator's curse that we call it on Project Cars. Every time we jumped on board with them, they've usually stacked it. So all the drivers regularly mention, please don't hold on from on board with you for this race. Adam's quickest time, a 29.460. Got some traffic coming up. He can use this to his advantage if he can get a nice line. That toe, slingshots out. This is probably going to help him, but there's a stack. Oh, he makes contact, so it's invalidated. That's a huge stack. That's a huge, huge crash. So we'll jump back for replay on that. That was a pretty huge crash. So that contact there slides him out. Those cars going every which way. It's very unfortunate, as he was on board for a very quick lap and he was just only marginally away from that crossing of the finish line. That could have potentially set a pole setting time, so that means he's going to have to get back out there pretty quickly. He's only got 25 seconds, it's not enough time. So he's going to have to make do with that time. There's only a difference of 0.013 separating Adam Rudinovich and Aaron Thompson. He's out there, he can definitely get a couple more laps in. He can cross that finish line before the countdown has concluded. 5 seconds, I don't think so. This will be his final lap. He's just fell short of, so that's his final lap. That wasn't a quick one, a 33.02. That was well off his pace of a 29.473. There we have qualifying complete now. Drivers parking those cars up. And our results for qualifying: Scott Rankin taking pole position with a 29.239. In the grid we have Adam, Aaron, Mark, Craig, Neil, Blake, Graham, Robbie, Caleb, Mark, Stephen, Robbie, Graham, Neil, and then it's just all gotten mixed up as we change back over. So it starts loading in by whoever has loaded into the session first. Drivers should be starting from pit lane, I assume. They are delayed, just angled out on the grid. A nice up high view. So we've still got 3 drivers to load in. So that's all drivers have hit that ready. So the pace car will be underway in a moment. Scott Rankin should be lining up on the inside line. Looks like a few little blinks still going on for Mark Horton. Drivers can pass to the right of their line. Any passing before the start line to their left will result in a penalised situation. A couple of restarts we had last week, seeing a disqualification occur for Neil McKenzie for not coming in and serving the stop and go penalty after it was issued. That's just in-game session, so we aren't running live race control. We did give it a crack for a couple of rounds in the Formula Vs. It did really take away the aspect of what we look for Apex eSports League. The pace car is in. So Scott now has control of it, and he gets away for a very quick start. He's really pulling that gap away. He's now got a half-second lead over Aaron Thompson. He's side by side with championship leader Adam Marinovich. He's on the outside line. He's going to have to be careful not to be squeezed out. Now racing super tight. Yeah, screaming past. Adam looking to try and really cover some ground. We've got Scott Rankins really pulling ahead. He's put 1 second lead on the race before the conclusion of the first lap. That's some huge pace. Mark Horton's just coming up behind Adam, but there's a few blinkings going on. And look at Scott flying ahead. He's opening the lap at least a good 1 second quicker than P2 and P3. Early just yet. Anything can still happen, and especially with these cars most likely needing some fuel. We did cap the fuel at 47% to their normal fuel tank. However, we have seen that the cars have been able to blast out without requiring a pit stop at all in the last 2 rounds. Some drivers finding they did need to. Actually going down towards that back end. Scott Rankin starting to lose that ground. Aaron Thompson really taking advantage of that little bit of stream that he is getting from Scott. So we've got Adam tucked in between Aaron and Mark Horton. He's getting some serious pressure and even pulling away. Scott could be in some trouble here. Aaron's got some huge pace. He goes for an inside line, but it's blocked by Scott. He's going to have to tuck in just a little bit longer and sling out. No, he's going to go for it, but he almost moves out wide. He has to tuck in. That's going to cost him some speed for the next corner. That's perfect for Adam, who's now able to close in on that tail. Close that gap in. He's getting the advantage of the double car slipstream. He's going to try and plan this very cautiously. He's hunting down these two. It's a very tight battle for these 4 up the front. Sounds like a little bit of contact going on. I think that may be Mark Horton and Adam. A little bit of rubbing going on that tail end, but Mark nearly squeezes him out. There's a fair bit of pace. We've got Nathan Peters who's just coming out of the pits. Also Russell Gander making his way out now. Track temperature is still at 21 degrees. Scott's starting to put that lead out pretty well. It's wide, trying to do so. That's just allowed Aaron Thompson to really close in. They're getting around some lap traffic as well. I think that was Russell Gander's car. They may have just gotten past. Aaron's making a move again. He's also got Mark Horton ducking in between. Mark Horton really runs out wide. Some aero wash really affecting him. He's going to be feeling some pressure and maybe a little bit of a bump here from Mark if he sticks onto that line. This is some super tight racing. These guys are really doing well out there. Joining us for the stream and you haven't done so, do be sure to hit that follow button, jump in the chat as well, let us know who you're here to cheer on, who you think's going to take the win. Will Scott continue his run of good times that he's set in qualifying, and he's had some blisteringly quick laps out there. Keep that consistency up, that could be a win for him. Oh, it's too wide down the back there. Blake Urquhart's come out of nowhere, taking past Mark Horton. He's got some huge speed coming here. Camry making their way past the Chevys. Ooh, and almost a little bit of a tail slide just in front of Mark. These front runners sticking pretty tight, but it's now allowed Scott to put a little bit of a lead over again. Look at this, we have 4 downshift guys, all down towards the back end. Sorry, midfield. 1, 2, 3, 4 for them. That's Craig, Neil, Caleb and Graham. All sticking together. So running 8th through to 11th. Mark Horton's just blinked out and dropped down significantly. I'm not sure where he's gone. No, he's just gone. He's definitely got some lag issues going on. He's back in. I just saw him go down my position board like crazy, showing down to 16th, and then back up into the lead, and then back into 3rd. Last lap was a 30.7 for Blake. Scott a 30.5. Blake's fastest lap's a 29.9. I think the fastest lap of the race is a 29.868. That's set by Mark Horton. Russell Gander currently in 15th position. Will Buckland in 14th. This is about to be lapped by the downshift pack. Alex currently running 12th. Downshift guys starting to separate a little bit. Caleb and Craig still hanging tight to each other. Got some other cars to lap around. I think that's Philip Buckland's car. That is. Bradbury currently running 6th position, followed by fellow Century Motorsports KFC Stephen Banks. Scott Rankin is really pulling ahead of Blake Urquhart. Now he's got a 2.4 second lead. Blake also starting to get ahead of Mark Horton. Aaron Thompson dropped off down into 4th position. Adam Renovich in the Ford Mustang running in 4th. Here's our championship leader. It's only by 12 points ahead of Blake Urquhart. He did qualify strongly, so he's definitely going to be beneficial to him in those championship points. He can try and aim for even fastest lap and get an extra 10 points. And Dyson Smith just ducked in onto that inside line. He's moving out of the way for the race leaders. He doesn't want to risk entering into a spin. He's heading into the pits. So currently, oh, he's just spun in the pits as well. He's taken some pretty heavy front end damage. So on about lap 17, Scott's led for the full 17. Drivers were mentioning that the front right tyre was usually pretty well scrubbed by lap 20. They start losing lap times to about 32 seconds at that stage. We're seeing lap times from Blake of 31.7 for his last. Scott Rankin still pulling a slow 30. Up, might see a little bit more as well. So when will our race leaders decide to pit in? Mark and Adam sitting very tight. Adam gets a very good run. Oh no, his contact. Will they recover? I think he got out there safely. I don't know where Mark Orton has ended up. Was that Aaron Thompson's car? That was a very lucky save for Adam Runadich. He's dropped a couple of positions. It's allowed Robbie Bradbury to move up into 5th position. Followed by Stephen Banks, making a move on him. Adam deciding to head into the pits. I'm not sure if the diversion to dart across the track where the contact was made was because they were opting to contemplate going into the pits for a tyre swap out or not. And that may have caused that contact. I still don't think we get to see the animations of the pits. So we've got a couple of cars in the pits already. Scott Rankin currently out there on lap 21. He's led for the full 21 laps. He's just gotten around Neil McKenzie. Neil currently in 8th position, so he's now 1 lap down as Craig Taylor is making his way through. Join us for the stream. Don't be shy, jump into the chat and also use those sound effects controls down underneath the stream. And play a variety of cheers, applauds, boos, or other fun sound effects. Do have some fun with that as we go through the race. Alexander Dyson Smith just making his way out of the pits. Aaron Thompson trying to get around number 49. He's currently 2 laps down. That's Graham Ellis. He's really putting on some big times, but he has been in and pit. Aaron Thompson has not. So that last lap was a 32.5. So those tyres are probably well and truly scrubbed. He's definitely going to be needing to bring that car in. Otherwise he's going to be losing pace, especially to already lapped traffic. Scott Rankin starting to slow up now, whether his fastest lap isn't on par with that of some of the other drivers. So perhaps that is his strategy with his setup of the car. May very well be on there for a long haul stint rather than pushing out really quick times. He can only sacrifice possibly a quarter of a second is all that he's really losing in comparison to the lap times of the other drivers who are now really starting to lose off on speed, where Scott's still sort of holding that 31 second mark. The rest are starting to drop off into the 32s. 33s with Neil currently. It's half the field's been in and pit. And moves out of the way for car number 8. That's Bradley Morris. As Bradley Morris is actually running 12th, where Neil is running, where is he? 9th position. Bradley also unlapping himself around position 2. That was Blake Urquhart that we just saw him pass. He's definitely losing off some speed. We're going to have to start deciding whether they risk keeping that car out, losing a couple of seconds each lap, or if they bring that car in now, swap out those rubbers. There's 5 minutes remaining to the halfway point, so that's probably what they're looking at doing. Their race leader Scott Rankin heading into the pits now. He does have a 10.5 second lead over Blake Urquhart. Will he follow suit and head into the pits? Looks like he stays out for another lap. Blake now leading the race. Looks like he's taken some tail damage, and I think it's just very reflective. And here he comes, he's bringing that car into the pits now. It is no pit limiter buttons on the cars. They're going to have to manually control that, otherwise they could see themselves cop a penalty. Scott Rankin heads back out. Brilliant timing to be able to bring that car out right in behind another car, so we can really power on pretty quickly. So he's a lap down from Blake Urquhart from his pit stop. Blake getting those tyres. You don't see the pit crews unfortunately come out and change the tyres. Drivers do get to see that. And he's away. Stephen Banks having already pit in as well. They're in there for a 15.3 second pit time, which is on par with Scott Rankin's pit time. Blake Urquhart was 14.5 seconds. It's slightly slower. Not sure if he was making any other adjustments to the car at the time. Oh, some close pack here. Got Stephen Banks, Mark Horton. There's Blake Urquhart in the mix with them as well. Yes, right in behind these guys. They are racing hard. Mark Horton goes for an inside line. Blake is blocked by the two, so he's now tucked in behind Marks. Stephen drops back down onto that inside line, blocking Blake, and also maintaining that stream from Mark. This is the battle for position 2. Ooh, a little bit slippery from Blake as he just narrowly avoids a car that was down below curtain. I think that was just coming out of pit exit. Ooh, Blake just gets down across that blue line and then swings out in front of Stephen. It was a brilliant pass. We've got Mark Horton getting caught behind some lap traffic. That's car number 15, it's Neil McKenzie. He's still putting down some very big pace. And there's no blue flag conditions for oval racing. So he does not have to move out of the way. Even though in blue flag conditions for iRacing, it is up to the faster car to actually ensure a clean pass. Has every right to potentially block race leaders. It can be done. Scott Rankin absolutely flying out there now. He's brought those lap times down by 2 seconds. So those last couple of laps started to drop off by about a second per lap. So that's about 30 laps that he got out of those tyres. Getting some quicker times now. He's getting up into the 33 second mark. Last lap of 30.3. Gotta move a still holding up in 4th position, so he's regained a couple of positions after that spin. He was very lucky coming out of that. The drivers do have unlimited fast repairs. Oh, there's a little bit of a touch between himself and Aaron. That would have been super tight. Oh, he's got some traffic to contend with. He's going to have to start in and across. When he makes out wall contact, darts across onto the infield. Can he save it and bring that car back on track safely? He doesn't lose too much time. That was some pretty tight racing. Gets balked here, turns in. I think it was a little tap on that outside wall, which just sent him in narrowly avoiding another car. Nicely saved by Adam. Sorry, Aaron, not Adam. Aaron currently coming 6th. That's Scott Rankin down below and just up in front. Got a solid lead over the races, 22 seconds. Still got a full grid of 16, no retirements. There was a bit of attrition last week at Boston. Blake Urquhart's not leaving a whole lot of room. That is very tight. The nose of his Camry, right behind that Camaro of Mark Horton. Goes to that inside line. Is it going to be enough to slingshot through? He's going to have to try and push out that track position. Try and squeeze Mark out and force him to yield. Gets him nicely. Now moving up into position 2 again. Mark's still hanging on. He's not giving up that position lightly. Pit. Kelly Peterson also in the pits. Has had quite a lengthy pit time at the moment. Drivers have unticked fast repairs. They'll actually sit there waiting for the repairs to actually be completed. That's our race leader currently lapping position 4. So given he's leading the race by 22.8 seconds, he's almost catching up to lapping position 2. Scott is on fire out there at the moment. He's dominated for most of the race. Currently on lap 41, he's led for 40. And that was only because Blake stayed out for that extra lap while Scott came in and swapped out the tyres. Out there at the moment. Blake Urquhart still hanging on. He's not too far losing time. He's teetering around the 22.5 to 22.8 second gap. Just a few minutes past the halfway point. That's given us about 40 laps. And we can see them hit around the 30 lap mark. Track temperatures at 22 degrees. Humidity slightly increasing. Action going on in the midfield. We have Neil McKenzie battling it out with Robbie Bradbury. Alex Dyson Smith currently becoming 16th, having some pretty big pace, getting right up on the tail of Neil's car. Alex gets down over that line. Stephen Banks and Robbie Bradbury dueling it out. They were almost alongside of each other. However, Stephen really started to pull away. I think he's getting a little bit more of a slipstream advantage from Aaron at the moment. Robbie's going to have to maintain that same line, so you can try and close that gap down in on Stephen. Stephen, that's his PlayStation handle name. Something they've jumped in backwards and forwards, and we did get to see Stephen actually join us for our special event on Friday night as well, if you did tune in for that. So it's good to see himself out there, as well as Robbie Bradbury joining us for those events. Scott Rankin still pulling out those very quick laps, furthering that lead. He's now put 24.7 seconds over Blake. If he keeps this up, he could definitely be lapping P2. It's going to be very advantageous. He only lost that lead once he went in and pit. If he can get a lap up on Blake before needing to pit in before the end of the race, he's not going to lose that lead by the time he exits the pits. Currently 8 seconds behind Blake Urquhart. Caleb Peterson still managing to pull away fairly well. Bradbury quickly starting to close that gap in on Aaron. It was about a second apart. He's got that down to 0.7 now. We made 2 pit stops. I'm sure he felt the second 10 with some damage. It was another quick stop. It was a 14.9 second stop. So he's probably decided to go in and get some tyres. That's him tucking in behind Blake, so he's putting down some pretty good pace. And he's a lot quicker than Blake currently. Blake could definitely be out there on tyres. He's starting to feel a little bit slippery. His lap times are dropping off dramatically. We're going to get around Philip Buckland here. Philip Buckland stays high, not getting in the road of these guys. And Adam Marinovic is currently 2 laps down on the race. Makes currently 6th position. damage to Philip's car. Bradley Morris bringing that into the pits at the moment. It's a very delayed camera changeover. Sarah currently in the pits. Mark Horton also just exiting now. There's a 60-second pit stop, so I'm not sure if he may have had a splash of fuel thrown in the car as well. There's just over 10.5 minutes remaining of the race. Scott's pushed out that lead to 27 seconds, but it's, I think because Blake is now going into the pits. You can see that car even skating a little bit on that pit entry. Scott's times are starting to drop off. You can see Craig Taylor even putting down some quicker pace than him. So unlapping himself, Scott's going to need to try and decide when he goes in. He's only pit once. There he goes, he's bringing that car in. So to get the car down. Gets it down just to the right speed, just in time. As Robbie Bradbury moves up into position 2, he has pit 2 times. Now he's heading into the pits as well. Blake Urquhart just making his way out now. Just ahead of Caleb, that wasn't Caleb Peterson, it was another 1.5 car, I'm not sure whose car that was. Sorry, Neil McKenzie's car. So they are racing for position here. Scott makes his way back out on track and he still maintained the lead. Wilshill's in the pit stall. Oh, a little bit slippery as he's coming out on fresh tyres. Track temperature is still at 22 degrees. Blake goes to get around Caleb Peterson. Philip Buckland, he gets down a little bit low, trying to get around him. Doesn't want to get involved in an incident here. These guys are a couple of laps down. Significant incident here would definitely change the outcome of the race should a safety car requirement have to be called out. Stephen Banks sitting tight with Adam Marinovich. Only having that 12-point lead ahead of Blake. Did qualify a little bit strongly compared to Blake. And with the race points, are definitely going to count, so he's going to have to try and stay as close to Blake as he can. So you can't really afford to give up the spot on the podium. He's going to have to try and hold Stephen off. From lap 59, about to start lap 60. Quite a fine cut, dropping that inside tyres down below the blue line. Things can get very dangerous down there, it gets very slippery. Cars wise down to see who's got the quickest lap time of the race so far. So it's in the 29s. I think it's 29. 868. A step by my court. So that is 10 bonus points to go towards their championship. Like to qualify strongly as well if he can maintain around that top end for the finish. Can definitely help with getting those 10 bonus points. Blake having to make his way back in again, not sure. He's taken some, we'll see if we can go back and see what's happened with him to have taken some damage. contact.
A caution, yellow flag.
It's a caution required incident. So there's 5.5 minutes remaining. Drivers will need to maintain their positions. Lap cars will be forced down towards the back. Scott is lucky he is still a lap ahead. With 5 minutes remaining, he should be relatively safe. This will be waved on up. Pace car out to hold a couple of laps as the drivers reclaim their positions. That's Adam Renovich up towards that front end. It's going to be a very tight pack. Only 4 minutes remaining. Let's see if anyone's made their way into the pits. Drivers making their way down through. Greg Taylor making use of this time to head into the pits. Scott, having been a lap up, takes advantage to go in for a pit stop. There's Philip Buckland also peeling out. So he's going to use some very fresh tyres. He's probably even going to go in there and tape off that front. He can probably last out for 5 or so laps by the time he gets back out on track, provided he hasn't been penalised for going in whilst pit lane was closed. Should have enough time to weave on up, be ready to retake control of the race. Now 4 stops for Scott. Blake Urquhart had been bounced around, ricocheted down around track. Just trying to get around some lapped cars. Scott's making his way up towards the front. We'll be very close to restart, and it's only going to see a good 3 laps. Scott is 1 lap ahead. Up he goes, ready to take this away. It'll be onto green. We're going to see one lap for the start. It's been a very long safety lap. This car should be peeling off on this lap. Here he goes. This will be the final lap. He's still one lap ahead, so he's very safe for the restart.
Green, green, green.
NASCAR 35, Robbie Bradbury flying off ahead. Scott didn't need to really fight it. There's only 2 seconds remaining for the race. So it's the last lap now. Scott's definitely got the win unless things go drastically wrong for him and wins it on the final lap. Otherwise it's a battle between Adam Marinovich and Stephen Banks, but he does have a lapped car in between. I think that's Philip Buckland's car. Oh, sorry, that is Mark Horton. He's currently coming 7th. So there's the checkered flag. We have Scott crossing the line, taking first, bringing the checkered flag home. Adam Marinovich in 2nd place. Stephen Banks in 3rd. Followed by Aaron Thompson in 4th position. Blake Urquhart taking 5th. Robbie Bradbury in 6th. Mark Horton just dropped down, taking 7th position. Neil McKenzie in 8th. Bradley Morris in 9th. It's car number 8, should I say. Graham Ellis, position 10. Craig Taylor, some fun. There's a car going for a drift there. Caleb Peterson in position 12. Russell Gander in 13th. That's Nathan Peters doing some drifting there, having some fun with that car. Philip Buckland doing some burnouts. Alexander doing some circle work as well. So well done to all our drivers. And there we have the conclusion of round 3. So we'll bring up those results. I'll just go to a view where we can't hear some burnouts going on, so it's a little bit quieter. There we have conclusion of round 3 at Charlotte. Scott Rankin takes victory, followed by Aaron Thompson, Adam Marinovich, Stephen Banks, Blake Urquhart, Robbie Bradbury, Neil McKenzie, Mark Horton, Graham Ellis, Bradley Morris, Craig Taylor, Caleb Peterson, Russell Gander, Nathan Peters, Philip Buckland and Alexander Dyson Smith. 12 laps down, so no retirements either, so it's quite spectacular. So we'll be jumping over and getting our drivers into the Discord. So they do jump over for the podium interview anyway. Should see them joining in any moment. They might be a little bit shy. They might have been doing too many victory burnouts. We'll see if they do jump in. A few more moments before we wrap up otherwise. Looks like the guys are a little bit shy for an interview tonight, but there we have conclusion of round 3. Next week we are back in for a daytime race. So we're over to Phoenix Raceway for round 4. And of course we also have round 3 for the Pagnian Imports Ferrari 488 Challenge on Thursday night. So it's going to be some pretty exciting racing action going on this week, and it's Brands Hatch for the Ferraris, so be sure to check that out. So if you haven't done so, hit that follow button so you can be notified when we do go live. We'll be back again at 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Time next week for round 4 at Phoenix Raceway. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you trackside next week.